Welcome in the latest episode of That SEC Podcast. I'm the guy that shows up. My name is Michael Bratton. I go by SEC Mike on Twitter. Cousin Shane, don't know where he's at, but hopefully he'll be here soon. Late as per, I think what it is, he was so afraid to have to run this damn marathon. He may just now be recovering. Oh, there he is. Where you been? Have you been practicing for this marathon?
You know what, Mike? I have been having fun, brother. I have I'm going to be honest with you. So, Saturday is all football, right? Pretty much all week. College football is kind of my life right now, Mike. And Sunday is fun day for my wife and the kids. So we have been on the go. We've been in Pigeon Forge all damn day. I may not have walked a half marathon, but I felt like I was pretty damn close today. So I apologize. Just barely got here in time, but what a damn weekend, Mike. What a damn weekend we had.
Cousin Dalton says thank you for locking up Ole Miss. Go Tigers. At least one of us can hit our MyBookie lock of the week. I hit another one. So, again, shout out sponsors of the show. Got to throw up their logo here. We're presented by MyBookie, the online sports book. Fade Cousin Shane. I think he's hit one all year.
Yeah.
Go with me. I think I've only missed one this year of my MyBookie locks. Promo code THAT, SEC, THAT, over at MyBookie. Shane gets you double your initial deposit, just like Shane's double missing these locks. You know what?
Buddy, I have been so bad. I bet our list, no wonder they donate so well, Mike, because they're just feeding me and they got endless amounts of money to throw. So, oh man, dude, I tell you what a stressful weekend, stressful Saturday. I know there's a lot of, I was thinking about this, Mike, other than maybe like Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, and maybe LSU. This weekend, I feel like there's a lot of fans that are pissed off that they lost, and I still feel like there's a lot of fans that are pissed off even though they won. I'm kind of lost with a lot of these football teams. I keep scratching my head as I'm like, is the SEC bad or is all these teams good? We're just going to keep beating each other. So it's been an eventful last few weekends, brother, for sure.
Yeah, so let's get into the action, Shane. And a lot of places we could start. But I'm going to start here, Shane, just because we were both dead-ass wrong. And what a game it was, Shane. Shout out LSU beating Ole Miss in overtime 29-26. What a game this was, Shane. What a game for them LSU Tigers. Now, again, for Ole Miss, I came out of this. I'm seeing some doom and gloom. They're done with the playoff, all this. I ain't buying all that bullshit. I thought Ole Miss looked, again, they I don't want to say collapsed there, but they did allow a game-winning touchdown drive. Garrett Nussmeier, he was outstanding. 22 of 51 for 337 yards, 3 touchdowns, including a 4th and 5 touchdown to tie the game. That was one of the more impressive throws you're going to see all season. He threw, of course, the game-winning touchdown to Kyron Lacey in overtime. Lacey had 5 catches for 111 yards and a touchdown. But, man, I want to shout out this guy right off the top, Shane. SEC Offensive Player of the Week, Garrett Nussmeier. Come on, man. He wasn't. He did have a bad pick. He was getting harassed the entire game. He was running for his life, but he was stepping up. He kept his head looking downfield at all times, making the plays when they mattered. And I say all that, Shane, to say I don't think Ole Miss is done. I think that narrative is lazy. And again, with this season that we are seeing, anything's capable of happening. And I thought, for the most part, Ole Miss played a really good game, particularly on defense. Again, not in overtime, not with that with the game on the line, and LSU had the length of the field to go. But the rest of the game, Shane, I thought LSU's defense played, both defenses, really. I want to give a shout-out, SEC Defensive Player of the Week. I couldn't even give it down to one guy, Shane. I gave it to Wes Weeks, 18 tackles, sack, 2 tackles for 2 tackles lost, 1 forced fumble. And Braden Swinson, 8 tackles, 2 sacks, 2.5 tackles for loss, including 1 which was on a 4th and goal that stuffed Ole Miss. And hell, Shane, they gave the game ball to Zay Alexander, the quarterback. So LSU just had a lot of standout defense. This is the best they've looked on defense the entire season.
I tell you what, man, the last 2 games in particular, maybe the second half of that last game and then this one here, this is a tale of 2 halves, and I'm talking about the seasons, man. The knock on LSU, in my opinion, why they couldn't be a playoff team was because of this defense and how bad they are. And they got tested against one of the best offenses in the country, if not the best. And I tell you, they went toe-to-toe. So my hat's off for that entire defense, brother. They're the ones that need to be celebrating this weekend. I don't want to take anything away from Garrett because, 4th and 5, 32 seconds left, game on the line. And even though Ole Miss played a fantastic defense, short of just having an extra step, I don't think you could have defended that pass, man. Garrett laid it in there. That was a damn dart. And it was just, once that happened, Mike, I was like, there's no way LSU's losing this football game.
Mm-hmm. And they didn't, Shane. So, again, credit LSU. They're red hot right now. Let's throw up their schedule now that I've updated all these. But what is the ceiling now, if I can find it, for this LSU Tigers team now, Shane, now that they're 5-1, looking red hot. Now again, they got another tough couple games here at Arkansas, at A&M, Alabama. I mean, it's not getting easier, but I mean, they are staring down the barrel of making a run to the playoff.
They really are, Mike. And what they got to be really careful here is, I mean, enjoy it, enjoy the win, and what I don't want to see is lingering highlights throughout the week about storming the field, because this is a season that you cannot afford to keep looking in the rearview mirror, no matter how great that football game was, Mike, because Arkansas can beat you, A&M can beat you, Alabama can beat you. That's 3 games in a row that you have got to just stay locked in. Keep playing the football that you played here. Mike, the only difference, and I'll say this, and I like how you hand out awards. I'm going to hand out awards too. This is Co-Stadium of the Week, Mike. LSU fans were rocking. I told you, man, Death Valley needed. We always talk about these lists in the offseason about the toughest places to play. By God, they were alive. They were electric, and they were a big part of the reason they won this football game.
That and the wristbands. The wristbands were pretty neat, Shane, with the flashing lights. Anybody that missed it, but I hope we see more of that around the country. You know what?
Oh, yeah, man, we will. I'm sure we will. And this, like I said, the environment, at the start, you see it Shaq running around. I mean, this was a party, man. And these guys came to rock. And I feel like that was a big contributing factor on why LSU kind of had the upper hand on Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm. And, Jackson Dart, I thought he had a solid game, Shane. He had 284 pass yards, a touchdown. He had a really bad interception. But we finally got a Ulysses Bentley sighting. He had 107 yards, including a 50-yard touchdown run on 4th and 1. But, man, they had an 81-yard touchdown, first possession, dropped by Trey Harris.
Yeah.
You just expect guys like that to make that play. The next possession, they went down the length of the field, got stuffed on 4th and goal, or it may not have been goal. It was in the red zone for sure. But, I mean, those little plays like that matter in a game like this.
Yeah.
And Ole Miss in the red zone, 3 of 5. They went down there 5 times, Shane, came away with 13 points. LSU only 2 red zone trips, but they came away with 10. This is how you win games like this. Ole Miss had 12 penalties, 110 yards, and also very, very rare you're going to see this statistic, Shane. Ole Miss 213 rushing yards.
Yeah.
LSU 84. And yet LSU won the football game. So it's an outlier, but again, a hard-fought win. But I ain't writing off Ole Miss, buddy. I think this is crazy talk. Again, one more loss, I'll write them off. But I'll say it right now, because I'm seeing everybody and their damn mother saying, well, Lane Kiffin's off to Gainesville, and like, they're dead in the water. How's he going to keep this roster together? I'm going to make a bold – you tell me how bold this is. I'm not doing it to be bold. It's doing it because I think it.
Yeah.
I think Ole Miss is winning out, and I think they're making the college football playoff. And before anybody said, we'll get to their game, but Georgia is not this dynasty that we all think they are. They're truly not. So again, will they be underdogs in that game? Yes. Will they be favorites in every other damn game? Probably. Unless maybe at Arkansas they're an underdog, but that's a winnable game. I think Ole Miss wins out. I think Ole Miss makes the college football playoff. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's bold, Mike. Odds are they're probably going to lead all the games. Can they close them out? That's the problem. Is Ole Miss has no problem putting the points on the board. It's just when it gets crucial time, they find a way to give these games away. So, no, I do think that there's enough star power on that side of the football to be in any football game, to win any of those football games. But, we talked about mulligans, earlier this season, and I said they got one more in their pocket. Well, they just dropped it down there at Death Valley. They've got no more wiggle room. You are correct. They went out, they're still in. They didn't drop too far in the AP poll. They'll find a reason to put them in. But I will say the margin of error is so small moving forward. There's no more mistakes to be made. You got to play flawless football moving forward.
Well, I think it helps them too, Shane, that both their losses 3 points. And again, Kentucky lost looking worse by the week. Yeah. But okay, you get blown out, it's a different story. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And anybody that tells you they know, like, I just think it's hilarious, Shane. I mean, we get asked it. Every one of these damn people on TV and all over the internet, they're getting asked it, and they're commenting on, what does this mean for the playoff? What is it? Hell, we don't know. Nobody knows. We've never done a 12-team playoff. Yeah. So anybody telling you, that, this team's done, or this team's a lot, I mean, they're talking out their ass right now. I just think if they go 10-2 with 2 3-point losses in this conference, I think they're golden. I don't think there's any way you keep them out.
Nope. Me either.
Perfect. That's well said, Shane. Well said.
I mean, I wanted to argue with you, but I'm looking. Can you pull the schedule up one more time? I'm looking right now, and again, it's October 13th. Anything could change by the end of November, but I think they're going to be favorites in all the games except for Georgia. And you are correct. And we're going to get to them. I don't have warm, fuzzy feelings. I mean, this is a football team that struggled against, say what you want, we're going to get to it, Mississippi State, brother. This is a football team that lost to an Alabama, which we're finding out may not be a pretty good Alabama. So there's a lot of question marks floating around that game in particular. But, yeah, I'm right there with you. Ole Miss is still got everything in front of them, but they cannot screw up, man. They got to play some damn football. And you're right. Some of these stars, I scratch my head. I look at a guy like Juice Wells' stat line. I'm like, where the hell did he go? Where did he just disappear? I'm looking at some of these big names that we heard coming in. I don't want to take anything away from Bentley or Dart. Those guys had fantastic football games, but they need some help. They need someone else to pitch in and make this, kind of make this what we thought Ole Miss was going to be.
Right. And shout out Brian Kelly, again, undefeated at LSU in night games. But how about his decision late in the game, Shane? I was pretty stunned by it. I don't know about you, but his decision to kick the PAT and go to overtime. Of course, it worked out, so credit to him. But early in his tenure against Alabama, you see him go for plays like that. I thought that was the best comment. This is a short one from Brian Kelly after the game, discussing why he kicked the PAT here.
I can't remember my, middle name sometimes. So, no, in honesty, I think that was a game that was one of, just a few that I've had in my career that it always felt like we were, one step behind and we were always trying to stay in the game. That's why I kicked the extra point, to be honest with you. I just felt like our guys worked too hard to get back in that game that I didn't want to go for 2 as an all-or-nothing situation. I wanted to kick it and get into overtime, which ended up being
obviously the right call. I clipped it a little too early. But again, I thought that was interesting. I mean, hell, he said we were losing. We just felt behind the whole game. Yeah. And Lane Kiffin, he echoed similar sentiments. We should have won that game. We had that game. He didn't say LSU didn't deserve it or anything like that, but basically we gave a game away. He didn't go quite that far. Those were my words, not his. But, man, credit LSU. And could LSU, again, we're talking a lot of Ole Miss. Let's talk LSU here for a second, Shane. I'll throw up their schedule again. Could LSU be one of these teams? This doesn't happen that often, but it has happened somewhat regularly in college football, Shane. I think of Tennessee in '98. I think of Ohio State before they got scumbag Urban Meyer. There's teams that like kind of come out of nowhere.
Yeah. That
have pieces, and then they just get better and better and better. Probably cheating ass Michigan. You could throw them into that conversation. And next thing you know, they're in the playoff and they're playing for it all. And damn, what do you know? They win it. Why can't that be LSU? I'm not predicting that, but the way they're winning some of these games, which I don't think they had any business winning South Carolina.
Yeah.
For this Ole Miss, I didn't think they had any business winning it, but they keep finding ways. And the defense is getting better and better. LSU could be that team that goes on a magical run, don't you think?
I absolutely. And, obviously that USC game stands out like a sore thumb, but you play them today, Mike, they're undefeated, in my opinion. This is a football team that I'm seeing growth and I'm seeing develop. And you're right. It's not so much individuals. For me, it's the entire defense. And you would think losing a guy like Perkins and, some injuries up front, that this is a team that, is going to be a patchwork the entire season. But, man, they were tenacious. They were all over the football field. Sometimes it felt like they had 13 guys out there. It was good to see. And it kind of, I don't know, took me back to, we saw some of them old farts sitting there on the sideline at the beginning of the game, kind of took me back to when, LSU always had good defenses. And I don't know, maybe it's a prelude to what's going to happen the rest of the season.
And as Ben a Hog says, LSU got to come to Fayette next Saturday night game.
Yeah, good luck there. Been there.
And I think this one was secretly Shane. Cousin Robert, he says, I think Mike is officially sold out with hair gel. I think he's one of your bald brothers there, Shane. Is just jealous.
That's right, man. I used to do hair gel. Remember LA Cool? That was a thing. It was like this big blob of green stuff. Probably going to give me cancer later. I'll find out. But yeah, you'd get that stuff, and man, you'd have to get it right. Me and my brother, we had flat tops, so it had to be perfect.
That's probably why you don't have hair now. It's because of that.
That's probably why. Damn it! I just thought about that.
Hey, shout out Cousin JR, man. What a guy he is.
Hey, thanks, cuz.
He's a Hall of Famer in my book. He just gifted a membership to Joshua. So welcome to the family, Joshua.
Welcome, Josh.
All right, Shane, let's move on because we got other games here.
Yeah.
But how about this one? Oh, buddy. This went exactly as I thought it would, and it kind of made me sad. But it is what it is. Shane, Texas whooped up on them Oklahoma Sooners. I mean, they credit to Oklahoma, came out pretty strong. Actually won the first quarter, which gave them a 3-0 lead, and then Texas just ran off 34 consecutive points to just completely smother the Sooners. And this was a defensive masterpiece, I thought, for Texas. I mean, they had 11 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, and won the rushing edge 183 to 118. Quinn Ewers came back, looked a little rusty.
Yeah.
But 20 of 29, 199 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And that's with thousands of people called for Arch Manning after he threw an interception. But, man, shout out Texas. How great did they look on Saturday?
Dude, this is the team. This is a team right now to beat. I mean, I can paint pictures of why Georgia is the team. I could paint pictures of why, Alabama could be the team or Mizzou the team. No, brother, this is the ball club right here. This is the one that everybody needs to put a bullseye on. And I already think they punched a ticket. I don't like to get the cart in front of the horse, but I think they've already punched the ticket to their first ever SEC championship football game. So, Mike, here's the deal. I thought Texas obviously did look a little slow at first. I think yours was, getting the run. We were kind of expecting that. It hasn't got to play that much. Oklahoma had moments early in this game to kind of grab hold of some of that momentum. The defense, by God, they may be one of the best defenses in the country. Unfortunately, it's followed up by one of the worst offenses in the country. And I don't know, man. I'd almost want a different locker room if I was on that football team. I wouldn't even want to see. I'd say, Coach, let me play both ways. That's what I want. Could you imagine Stutman on the other side just give him the football and see what happens. So, Mike, that's the problem. You know, you got a young quarterback. I was kind of surprised we didn't mix it up a little bit, maybe bring somebody else in, give a little spark. But this game was when it got out of hand, it was over.
Right, and it just seems like Oklahoma's got no answers for anything offensively. Like you said, maybe switch quarterbacks, but hell, they've already done that. And that worked for a little while, worked against Auburn. But now,
just something.
Well, I mean, they have no receivers, you know. And
I know.
Even sadly, Shade, tell me I'm wrong here. I think the last two games, Auburn and this one, has shown the offensive line's getting better. And it's still, I say getting better, still not that good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But better, you know. So I don't know where in the hell they go from here. Let's look at Oklahoma's schedule. But, you know, it ain't getting much easier, Shane. I mean, all of a sudden, you do get South Carolina at home, but they're pesky as hell. Nearly knocked off Alabama. We'll get to them in a minute. At Ole Miss.
First of three wins that football game, Mike.
Maine, okay, that Maine's easy.
Yeah.
At Mizzou, which they've been struggling, but that's, God, they hate you more than they hate anything in the world, apparently.
Yeah.
Alabama, and at LSU. Again, so not murderer's row, but I think it's fair to say, let's just look at the SEC games.
Yeah.
I think the only one that they'll be projected favorites, for whatever that's worth, but I think the only one they're favored to win is South Carolina. Is that fair?
Yeah. No, that is fair. Maybe. Yeah, I don't even know. I guess you already know. So I would say, yes, that would be the only one.
So, again, that doesn't mean you're going to lose all of them. Hell, you were underdog, I think, to Auburn, right? And
short of getting somebody, I mean, even if you did get, you know, a couple of receivers, let's say Nick and D, I don't know their situation. I don't know the health. I don't like to guess on that. But let's say we get 2 or 3 receivers back. I don't know if that makes a world of difference. I think it helps, you know, but I love the fact that Hawkins is an athlete. I love the fact that he has that ability, but you know, I'm not saying he's a one-trick pony, but still, to be a threat with your legs, you still got to be a threat with your arm. And I felt like not so much him, but this offense never kind of put him in a good place to get down the football field, if you will, you know. See a lot of these other teams that may be struggling up front with the offense or the line, you know, they'll do things like moving the pocket or, you know, kind of make little easy decisions for him. And it felt like he was just kind of thrown out in the wolf, you know, with the Wolves there.
Oklahoma averaged 2.2 yards per carry.
Jeez.
I mean, that's...
Mike, that is terrible.
I mean, I think to your point, Shane, a guy like that needs help.
Yeah.
You can't... A true freshman, second start, I guess number one in the country. That's why I was like stunned. People were thinking this was going to be a contest. And then they got all these guys out. I don't know. It just seems like it seemed like a nightmare scenario. And I'm hopeful that they can manufacture something once they get some of these guys back. But to your point, I don't know if they will. I don't know if they'll. I think this is kind of just who they are at this point. And they got to hope the defense scores and puts them in good situations. You know what?
And I'm worried, man. I'm worried because, you know, I don't know what clips you got here, but I heard a lot of players coming out the end of this thing voicing their frustration, which you're always going to be frustrated after a rivalry loss, you know, especially when it's an embarrassing one. But, man, I felt not give up, but I felt a lot, you know, I felt some dudes in there that were not happy with this one and demanding some change happen. So, but again, how do you orchestrate that? How do you just, okay, if you've not figured it out by now, what do you think is going to change next week?
Right.
But Texas, look, here's the thing, Mike. I was looking forward to this one, and I wish we were there, and I can't wait to maybe next year we'll go it's the Red River Shootout, but they don't call it the shootout. It's the rivalry because of PG version, right? Because we don't do guns unless you're in South Carolina, right? So I think the problem is this was our first one, you know?
Right.
And I was hoping that
we wanted an all-time classic.
If we could have had the game we had last year, you know, then we'd be like, okay, I see why this is such a big rivalry, you know?
So now here comes the real challenge, though, Shane.
Oh, baby.
Georgia comes to town, and maybe even tougher, Vanderbilt. in Nashville. Why are you laughing,
I'm
Shane?
not
Vanderbilt's
laughing.
red hot right
Dude,
now.
Vanderbilt,
But,
I don't want to play Vanderbilt.
so I think we'll learn more about Texas the next couple of weeks. But how now they're on top of the world. They're favorites. You just said you're crowning them.
Yeah.
I heard Paul Feinbaum today. They asked him, who's the number one team in the country? He said, far and away Texas, which that may be right. But now they got to go from all off season. We heard the jokes, the SEC ready, yada yada yada, to no one can compete with us. How does that change, if anything? Maybe it doesn't change anything, but now they got that target on their back. You know what?
You do wonder, man. I mean, because the two SEC teams is one that they've always played, so they know the history there, and then they got the worst team in the SEC, Mississippi State.
Right.
So they still have not ran through the conference just yet, but as you pulled up that schedule, they've got some tricky football games coming up. Tough one, I think, will be obviously Georgia, Vanderbilt, Florida fighting for his life
At Arkansas.
down there, Arkansas. Who knows?
A&M.
Coach Stoops' last away game, and then and then A&M, which is red hot. So who knows? I still think we're going to have some awesome football games, and I'm not saying Texas gets out of this thing unscathed, but right now, I mean, small little window, Texas is freaking good.
Okay, yeah, no doubt about it. Well, shout out. I'm going to give this guy an award here in just a second, Shane,
Yeah.
because he's earned it. Just if for nothing else, this clip right here.
Corn dog, y'all. Go.
It's amazing, actually. All right,
Starving.
Coach. Congratulations on the win.
All right, and just to clarify, well, first of all, he's SEC Coach of the Week, Shane. He's earned that, I think, with the way he game plan. Again, Oklahoma's got very good defense. You can mock their offense all you want. They got a really good defense. And Texas, once they kind of figured them out, had their way with them. But it's pretty, we should never be in a position, Shane, where shows like this are having to correct ESPN.
Yeah.
But that's the situation we find ourselves in because ESPN rolled this out. And I've seen, other people, but them most prominently. They're saying this is a troll of Brent Venables, and that's not true at all. Both these guys were asked this week about the corny dogs. They both said they never had one, and they both said if they win, they'll try it out. So that was not a troll on Venables, despite what people are saying. But I did thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, let's just call it a troll. Well, that's what we want. We want these guys after each other. And again, that's the beauty of a rivalry. I hate when we have rivaled coaches. We've seen this in the past, maybe two coaches. Nothing against the late, great Mike Leach and Lane Kiffin. But it felt like when they took over that one, it kind of lost a little bit of luster there at the Egg Bowl because these guys can't get at each other. You know what I'm saying? But you throw a Dan Mullen up there, you throw Coach Luke up there, then it means a little bit more. And I kind of miss, kind of them punching at each other. So this one right here, I'm going to take it as a troll just to make it more exciting in case they face again next year.
Well, I know they're good friends. I know as weird as that sounds,
Ugh,
they're buddies.
Get out of here. I hate that. I don't want my coach being friends with my rival, Piss on them.
It is what it is, Jade. All right. Well, speaking of that, I don't know how friendly these guys are. And I know Shane is no friend to them Florida Gators. How about it, Shane? Tennessee in overtime beats Florida 23-17. And man, oh man, Tennessee's been shut out now. Consecutive first halves. Josh Heupel had never been shut out. And yet here we go, back-to-back weeks shut out by the Gators. Gators led 3-0 at halftime, but could have been a lot worse. I mean, it's just mismanagement after mismanagement. There was 3 red zone possessions, ended in 0 points, including a field goal at halftime. But they had too many men on the field. I guess they didn't bring a damn mat. I thought I saw pictures of the map. They were not using it, so they made a field goal and got no points out of that. And then Tennessee outscored Florida 23-14 in the second half in overtime. But man, how bad were you sweating this one, buddy? Because let's be 100% transparent. Of course, you made the half marathon bet.
Yes.
And I just want the listeners to know that during these games, how often we are in communication. I would say it's roughly every 3 minutes.
Yes.
There's a text sent. There's other people in the threads as well, but about every 3 minutes, there's at least one text from Cousin Shane or Cousin Shane reacting to a text. He went about 3 hours without a single text, and all I was thinking was, you were already in pain or something.
Everyone left. Everyone left the living room. It was just me and King Henry. And I wasn't even sitting in a chair. I sat on the ottoman in front of the TV. I got an 82-inch TV. It's massive, and I could see it from anywhere in the room. But I am right there on it because I wanted to feel like I was in it. And, Mike, I was nervous. I ain't going to lie. As soon as it went up 3, and I still can't believe we got it. Hey, right here. Here's the good coaching. Here's the good time management. And here's the special teams. Florida lost that football. Tennessee did not win that football game. Florida lost that football game. Like you said, they went into the red zone, 4 times and came away with 3 points, one of them on the goal line. I mean, hats off to Tennessee's defense for bowing up and keeping Florida Gators out of the end zone and keeping me alive. I'm going to do this just for – I really was worried about this when I started thinking about it because the last time I kind of prepped a little bit because I wasn't super excited about going to the swamp, but this one – no prepper. I mean, clearly, look, I'm a little bit bigger than I was last year. I didn't buy new shoes. I made all that up. I'd have to go buy some new shoes. And because I really didn't think that it would happen, Mike, until we went down, 10-0. And I was like, oh, my God, this is happening. And you're right. I didn't text. I barely tweeted. I just wanted to stay away from social media. It was just me, King Henry, and me praying basically that Tennessee somehow gets back in this football game. And thank you for having Billy Napier on that sideline and helping me not run a half marathon.
Yeah, I mean, it was wild, Shane. I'm trying to figure out what in the hell happened to Tennessee's offense. I thought this would be the game that would wake them up, given how bad Florida's defense has looked at times this season. But again, credit Florida. I thought they played their asses off, Shane.
Yeah.
It was the best I've seen Florida look all year. And this was not to say that, they're going to win out or anything like that, but they came on a mission. They came to win. They came knowing they owned Tennessee, and they did for the better portion of this game. But, again, constant miscues. Graham Mertz. I mean, that was tough. I mean, he got injured. I still don't know the severity, but it sounds like he may miss an extended period of time, if not the rest of the season. So you're relying now on a true freshman. DJ Lagway was making some plays, but man, oh man. And how about, I think the worst of all, the absolute worst, Shane, play this damn clip. Billy Napier, they score a touchdown. They're down 1 with about 30 seconds left in the game. And they line up to go for 2, and they bring out this stupid, funky formation. Tennessee calls a timeout, and then Billy Napier,
Low T Napier
decides to kick it. He's asked immediately, first question, why that? What the hell were you thinking there?
You showed 2, and then you decided to go for 1 again. What went into your thinking there in that decision?
Well, we had to play that we felt good about, and then obviously they burned their time out. And I think we felt from the 3 there, we were playing pretty good on both sides of our team at that point in time, so we felt like let's go play overtime and let's go give our guys a chance to play some more plays. Thought defensively we kept ourselves in it. Wasn't quite ready to do that at that point in time.
You had the scramble situation at the end of the first half.
So again, Shane, oh my God, what are you doing here? You got a true freshman quarterback. You just ripped Tennessee's heart out.
Yeah.
Remember when he got hired? What was the saying, Shane? Scared money don't make money. And now he's scared. He's scared as hell. I mean, what would have happened, Shane? I mean, same damn thing. But if they didn't get that, how many Florida fans today would have been like, "Damn it, we should have played for overtime"? I mean, it was a complete opposite. It's like he's making these decisions now not to screw up, instead of going with his gut. And you go in there. You and I both know, if they went for 2, they would have gotten it.
Yeah.
They would have gotten it somehow, some way. And Florida would have won this damn football game, yet they played for overtime, and they deserved to lose. Not the players, but Napier.
Yep. No, yeah. And I want to give the fans. Here's the other co-stadium winner. Neyland was rocking, man. Neyland was absolute rocking, but the wind went out of the sails when they had that last score, and you're correct. They had an opportunity. They come out with some bogus bullshit play, and I don't know what that was. Bouncing around and all that stuff. I think you do one of them plays in college football we play, but then it goes to the side. What drives me nuts, if you're a Florida fan, if you look at the sideline, Billy's laughing and cutting up with somebody because it didn't work, and we're just getting out there and kick a field goal. We'll get this out. I knew when that happened, Mike, Tennessee won the football game. Here you are on the road, hostile environment. Your quarterback's out. Your best running back's out. You're about to get fired. You probably already are fired. What are you playing to gain here? You have an opportunity. You're 2.5 yards, 3 yards away from putting this damn thing in the end zone, winning a football game at a hostile environment, top 10 win, and we're going to kick an extra point and see what happens.
Chad Morris Award winner, worst coaching decision of the week right there. You know what?
This is why he will not be there next year. Stupid shit like this.
Right.
Hey, and I'm a Tennessee homer. I'm glad. But there is no reason any Florida fan watched that football game, you are pissed off because there's no reason you should have lost it. Even with the injuries, you shouldn't have lost this football game.
And my concern for Florida after that performance, now, again, maybe they can keep it up because they could possibly beat Kentucky, certainly at home. But my concern is you left it all out on the field. You played the best game of the season, and you still lost.
Yep.
So what is there? Can you do it? Can you get up next week to do it all over again? I'm not saying they can't, but that is a major red flag, and I think we'll learn a ton. I mean, we keep waiting for them to kind of quit on Billy. They ain't quitting on him. Yeah. So, it's a credit to them. But, again, it looks like Mertz out. Who knows how long, maybe the rest of the season. So what does this team look like? A lot of people wanted DJ Lagway to go full-time. Well, we're going to get it.
Yep.
Tough position. But how about Tennessee, Shane?
Yeah.
Again, it's rough, but first time Tennessee has beaten Florida two consecutive times in Neyland Stadium since I shouldn't have said that. Do you have any idea when is the last time Tennessee beat Florida 2 times in a row at home?
98?
No.
Oh, shit. You just led with it. So
1990 to 1992.
Oh, damn. I was 10 years old, 8 years old. Jeez. Good old days, man.
But
I could have done a half marathon like nothing back then, Mike.
Now looking ahead, after that performance, Shane, I think any of these games are losable, aside from UTEP.
Oh, Mike, this is a football team. I saw a tweet the other day, and I wish I could give them credit. I don't know who did it, but they said you would have killed for this 10 years ago, a 5-1 start and a win against the Florida Gators. Mm-hmm. And they are correct. But anybody that watched that football game realized that Tennessee's offensive line may be the worst in the country. No, I don't want to say that. They're pretty damn bad, though. They're very bad. Nico, I'm not putting it on him, but made some really bad boneheaded decisions. Again, I still don't understand why. I'm starting to think that there's a pattern. We didn't see Joe Milton running. We don't see Nico running. And again, I know he doesn't want him to get hurt, and maybe he's trained that way, but still blows my mind that that's not a part of this offense. There was no life other than Sampson. We had dumb drops. There was it was mistake after mistake after mistake. We get behind the chains. Tennessee plays like this, Mike. They may win 4 more games, period. And that's that's being positive.
Right. So, I don't know. It's rough. Now, next week will tell us a lot. Now, thankfully, for their sake, Alabama doesn't look so hot either right now. You know what?
No, they do not. And this is another team that's just, I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my head around. I know the country wants to put them in the top 10 or, the AP does and stuff,
right.
But I don't know, man. Are these truly top 10 football teams? I'm not seeing it.
No. Well, so we'll talk Alabama in just a second here, Shane, but I just thought this was great. Shout out Brandon Zerneman. He works for SEC Network. He's a good guy. Isn't it something, he says, that Ole Miss and Tennessee can score 60 points in the non-conference, and they can barely score 20 in SEC play? And, make of that what you will. A lot of people take that as, oh, yeah, just Ole Miss, Tennessee's frauds. I think it's more just the physical nature of the SEC and just how many good players damn near everybody's got now in this conference. But that is wild when you look at it like that, don't you think?
Yeah, it really is. But I will say, on a positive note for Tennessee, that they tried, and I know you don't get badges for that, but I did see shots down the field. They were there. Right. Receivers getting open, getting separation. And again, you can practice that and you look good at practice. You can go against, these weak-ass opponents, and it looks good and it connects. But in the SEC, for Tennessee's Josh Heupel and them, they're really going to have to start stretching the field. And I called Josh Low T Heupel, and he was, until he did that fourth down in their own red zone. That would kind of alleviated that. But still, I want to see some more of that aggressive. I think all the fans do, and I don't know if you got any clips from Coach, but he talks about that for this offense, it's like this close, but it requires everybody doing their job the right way, the same way, and if one guy misses an assignment or a block, then all of a sudden that play's not going to be open. If this receiver drops the football, which we had a couple of those, then this is not going to work. And this Josh Heupel offense is all contingent on getting those first downs, and if they're not, then they're 3 and out, and this defense is fighting for their lives over there.
You sound like a damn pitch man for Tennessee football, Shay.
I know.
Just go out there and get it done. I don't want to hear we're doing this, doing that. We're almost close. You gonna play the clip where he says we're almost good? Hell no, I ain't playing that, Shay. Come on, get the hell out of here. But hey, shout out Joshua. So he got gifted a membership. Now he's gifted one back. What a guy.
Yeah. You ever done that at a drive-thru? You pull up, somebody pays for your meal. You ever done that?
No.
So I pulled up. I can't remember. It's been a while ago. That was a bold move, man. I mean, you could see my silhouette from behind, So, and they said, yeah, this gentleman paid for your food. And I was like, oh, fantastic. And then I was like, well, then I'll, they kind of looked at me. I was like, well, I could do it, but I'm seeing a van back here. I'm like, well, what did they get? I'm like, nah, I'm going to go ahead and pay it. So pay it forward. So I appreciate that, Josh.
Yeah, and he gave it to UT Rage, so appreciate you, brother. And then Chase Floyd, he just gifted a membership.
Come on now.
To Wizard of Hogs. What a name.
That's a cool name. I like that.
Yeah, so that's awesome. But, hey, all right, we're not making excuses, Shane, and I ain't making no damn excuses like Shane for this performance we just saw. Oof. Alabama at home. Must-win situation. 21-point favorites. You won by 2 over South Carolina, 27-25. And, hell, I thought South Carolina probably should have won this damn game.
Yep.
Alabama came out strong, right away, touchdown drive, but then largely ineffective. South Carolina's defense was, after that drive, they were awesome, Shane. Mm-hmm. If they had an offense, they would have steamrolled Alabama in this game. But, shit like 4th and 11, throwing it for 1 yard, that ain't going to cut it. They almost scored a touchdown, but then punted from their own 12. Never in my life have I seen such a thing, so I made note of that. Alabama was up 14-0, Shane, with 1:40 remaining in the first half. And then South Carolina scored a touchdown, registered a safety, then picked off Milroe and kicked a field goal right before halftime. Alabama's defense is a problem, Shane. It's going to come back to bite them. South Carolina scored with 43 seconds in a game, missed a wide-open 2-point conversion, would have tied it. They did get the onside, and then Sellers went YOLO and just threw a horrible – I mean, it was literally the worst game-winning drive I've ever seen in my life. But what do you make of this one, Shane?
Yeah, and to have that touchdown from Nick, it's like – What? Just very inconsistent. And I know it's easy when you slow down, you watch the replay, and you're like, oh, look, there's 3 guys wide open. It's like, I get that. But in the heat of the moment, not giving your guy an opportunity, that's what drives me nuts. I saw it last week with Tennessee. We saw it this week also with Oklahoma. There at the end, I know it's just pointless points, whatever, but it's like you're not giving your guy a shot if you're throwing out the back of the end zone. So, I really hated that for South Carolina in particular, especially this defense. They played so damn hard, man. To keep Alabama's offense in check, especially in the second half, was damn right impressive. And it just sucks because South Carolina's watching this and they're like, Dude, we're right now watching probably our best defense we've ever had, followed up by an offense that can't give it away. Loggins, I had like 2 or 3 tweets ready for Loggins because some of the boneheaded play calling that I saw, but then there would be like something right before half, and I'd be like, well, I got to delete that now. They had some. I was ready to go 3rd and Loggins, but I had to delete that a few times. But yes, the offense. No life. Now, I have no idea what we're doing over there. You got weapons, but it's just we're not getting it to them.
It just seems like there's so many teams now in this conference, Shane, that have one side of the ball figured out.
Yeah.
And then are like completely clueless on the other side of the football. I don't understand it. And South Carolina can kind of fit into that category with their defense and the way their offense is performing. And hell, you could probably say it about Alabama too. The way their offense is doing pretty well. Although it looks out of sorts, doesn't it? I mean, it's just nothing seems right. And there was a guy, I thought this was hilarious, Shane. He wrote an article today.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it your way. He says, this win was worse than the Vanderbilt loss for Alabama. Would you agree with that or no?
No. But I do understand it because this is another fan base that is pissed off, and it's not the shirt, even though he had a hoodie. They're like, look at DeBoer smiling after. How dare he smile after this football game? It's like the kid can't win for losing. And again, it is a win. It's very sloppy. But I want to ask you, Mike, this Alabama football team, is it a good football team that is just playing terrible? Or is this an okay football team that is just trying to win?
I think it's an okay football team that has a handful of elite players.
Yeah.
And they're riding them. And this is what happens when Ryan Williams was largely a no-show in this game. Mm-hmm. Jalen Milroe was not making a ton of plays outside of the early in the game. And I think this is the result. So when those guys are not hitting, I think you're going to be in a dogfight every week, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it seems like once you play a serviceable offense, Alabama's in trouble. Now, the good news is they're not playing one of those this week, but they do got some on the schedule here that are very prolific, and I see problems. Even though they may not have an elite defense, I guarantee Mizzou's going to put points on the board. LSU's going to put points on the board. So in these next 3 games is going to make or break Alabama's season, Mike.
Right. And how hard is it to figure out damn South Carolina, too? Because,
oh, gosh, yeah.
1 week they're getting embarrassed at home, and then the next week they're nearly pulling off a game literally no one had. I don't think even their diehard fans thought they were going to win in Tuscaloosa, but they should have. Can we get this week in and week out? Their defense is something special at times. They've got some unblockable guys. They got some defenders flying all around. But I don't know. Their style of play to me, Shane, it's hard to replicate that week in and week out. Maybe that's the issue.
They could be a 5-1 football team right now, Mike. I don't know. I don't want to have the shirt that says it's the best season that never happened, because I feel like what we're seeing here. We're seeing a good football team that nobody wants to play because they have one of the most elite defenses in the country. But on the flip side, you got an offense that, hey, you got to have them pegged. Sellers, if as long as you keep them contained, force him to make bad decisions, and he's going to make those right now. But he is a young quarterback too, so I know there's a lot of pressure on some of these young kids. I just got on the Oklahoma guy, Nico. These are young guys that will get better. I'm not going to throw him out with the bathwater here, but this is a quarterback that has who was it that said that he could potentially be a first-round draft pick? Do you remember who that was?
Yeah. Well, there was really no one putting their name to it, but it was scouts that were watching fall practice.
So again, he has the attributes, but he's kind of in the fire right now. You'd love for him to have another season or 2 under his belt before he comes out here, but unfortunately in the SEC, you got to prove it now.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you this, Shane: were you more disappointed in Alabama, or more impressed, surprised with South Carolina?
Well, you always find yourself rooting for the underdog. You know, I don't know if it's the whole David Goliath thing. It's just like you're always pulling for that. But
or is it 20 years of Alabama
maybe that's
holding
it
us
too.
all under their boot? You know,
I try not to hate Alabama because I don't hate Alabama. I think that they got a good football team, but. Well, maybe this week I hate Alabama. Yeah. But I do feel like Alabama – I feel like Alabama should have beat Vanderbilt. They should have beat South Carolina. There's going to have to be some long, hard looks in the mirror and accountability. And I don't know if that's from the coaching staff, but most likely needs to start there and work its way down.
Right. So your answer would be you're more disappointed in Alabama? Because I 100% agree with that. And that's not the, completely dismiss South Carolina, but it's last season there was issues at Alabama, clearly.
Yeah.
There was games similar to this, but they were getting better each week. They were making adjustments. Jalen Milroe was starting to heat up. This season feels like they're hanging on for dear life, and they're screwing up these games.
Yeah.
And they found a way to get ahead on Georgia, and then ever since then it's just been a debacle. So, and you just said it, their next three is going to define the season. And if they play like they did the last 2 weeks, if they do that the next three, they may have a losing record in those 3 games.
Yeah.
And I don't even think that's that bold of a statement.
No, absolutely. I mean, I've not seen anything the last 2 games to say that Alabama doesn't struggle the rest of the season. So, this is a fringe playoff team, but they keep playing like they have the last 2 weeks. They're not going to make it.
Mm. You know who is going to make it, Shane?
Who's that?
Cousin Rick. Come on.
Oh, come on, Gus.
Always enjoy the show. Beat the hell out of Mississippi State. We appreciate you, Rick.
Everybody says I should pick Mississippi State, so lock them down.
After Wizard of Hog got a membership, Shane, he gifted one.
Damn.
Look at the winning spirit to WSP Dog 222s. Appreciate you, brother.
No pressure.
All right, how about this one, Shane?
Yeah.
On with the games here. Georgia.
Oof.
What is going on with them dogs against the other dogs, Shane? 41-31. Georgia holds on. I mean, I don't know. You tell me, Shane. At no point did I really think Georgia was going to lose this game. They were largely in control, but they didn't look overly impressive either. I mean, Carson Beck comes right out here, throws a pick. Wasn't necessarily on him. It got tipped. Again, that's going to happen. State kicks a field goal, but again, Georgia led for most of the game. They dominated in the rushing. That's 146-79. But if you were to tell me, Shane, and again, this is no shade at Carson Beck, who threw for 459 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did have one really bad pick, not the first one, but the second one. But if you were to tell me exiting this game, which quarterback kind of impressed you the most, I'm going with Michael Van Buren, Shane. 306 yards, 3 touchdowns. He'd had a pick himself. Again, this is not an individual game. In my opinion, at no point did I feel like Georgia was ever going to come close to losing this football game. They looked like the more dominant team, but then at the end of the day, they kept giving up issues. And late in this game, they're giving up all these touchdowns. And you can't say it was against the backups because they damn near came back and I won't say nearly won, but again, this was a 30-something point spread, and it ends up being a 10-point ball game. What's your main takeaway here? Is it concern for Georgia, or is it, man, Mississippi State? They're fighting, man. They're fighting hard, and they're starting to get it under Jeff Lebby.
Is Van Buren on the injury report after that hit he took on the sideline? No. Oh, that's what everybody wants to talk about is old Kirby hitting them players over there. But no, I joke. I feel like this is more about Mississippi State being gritty, fighting. That's a good thing, Mike. That's a good thing. If you're a State fan, that's a good thing because Lebby doesn't have the pieces yet. But you can see what will happen when he does. You got a young guy that's got plenty of time to build around him. I think if you're looking at a team that gave Texas fit, you're looking at a team that gave Georgia a fit. We were afraid that they were just going to get steamrolled every time they went to a football game. There's no give up in this football. Well, there's one play there was a little give up, but other than that,
right.
no give up in this team. But you also got a Georgia Bulldog team that, I don't know, kind of took their foot off the gas, and I don't want to see that either. I want to see a team that just finishes them, breaks their spirit. I mean, when I think of Kirby Smart and his passion and what he brings and what he has always kind of mimicked down there in Athens was a tough-nosed football team that doesn't take shit from anyone. They don't want to beat them. They want to destroy them, and I'm not seeing that, Mike. I'm feeling like, hey, let's get the lead and let's just coast the rest of the way.
What do you think, if anything, should have been done when old Kirby assaulted Michael? That's not the word. I have seen people say that, but he pushed him. What was your thoughts on that?
Again, not good. Not good. I mean, it's one thing if it's a player to a coach, because that's what some people have said. Well, we've seen players do this to coach. I'm like, that kid's 20 years old. This is an this old ass man is pushing a kid. You know what I'm saying? And I get it. It's in the moment, whatever. You're getting kind of pumped up, and you're used to being physical. That's one thing I think in this soft society. And I don't want to get on my box here, but growing up, my coach would whoop my ass. You know what I'm saying? He'd hit. I mean, we used to get hit on the head and everything like that. Come on, Shane, get your shit together, So I mean, but you coach that way, sometimes it shows out in game and you forget there's all these cameras out there. So I'm not saying it was right because it wasn't, but again, I mean, kid's padded up. He ain't hurt.
What would happen if the quarterback had done it to Kirby though?
Well, 15 yards probably at least,
I think they would have thrown his ass out of the game.
Nah, they wouldn't have done that. Well, maybe. I don't know.
You can't have players pushing the head coach over
I don't know. I saw players pushing refs the other week, and nothing happened there. So
yeah, I mean, that should have been thrown out of the game.
The guy literally
there too.
has a flag in his pocket, and he just got assaulted, but we kept it in. So
I don't know. That was something I don't know if I've ever seen here in the SEC. You know what?
No. But that is the talking point right now. Has Kirby came out and apologized yet? Started a GoFundMe or anything? No.
What are the odds, O'Shea? What are the odds Georgia was, I mean, just simply looking ahead to the juggernaut that is Texas football?
Could be. I'm not rolling that out. I feel like Georgia still in the captaincy. I think the biggest thing that we took away from this weekend was how the hell did this team lose to Alabama? I'm still scratching my head there. This is a team that is able to put 40, 50 points on anybody. I think I'm more surprised that they allowed 31 points on defense. So, if there's anything, I clean up some of the dumb mistakes and because there was plenty of them in this football game.
Because Matt says Kirby's mugshot coming next.
Well, that's the thing. Culture, that's one thing I hear all the time. This is why they drive fast, because Kirby's beating the shit out of the opposing players, All right,
how about this one, Shane? One I called, and you didn't have the guts to. Vanderbilt goes on the road, keeps the momentum going, Shane. 20-13. Kentucky had 2 weeks to prepare, and boy, they needed 3. Because Diego Pavia, brother, 15-18, 143 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 53 rushing as well. Shout out our buddy Cole Kublik. He noted after the game, Diego Pavia, first quarterback, Shane, SEC history, with back-to-back games of 2 passing touchdowns, 80% completion percentage, and 50 or more rushing yards in consecutive games. First one to do that in 20 years. So it's been a long-ass time, Shane. But I thought the key segment of this game, for anybody that missed it, Kentucky had a 1st and goal from the 1. They had a false start soon after. The drive stalled. They had to kick a field goal, and they didn't get to kick a field goal because the holder screwed it up. He ended up throwing a damn ball. It got intercepted. That was just such a turning point for this team. Kentucky also had 12 penalties for 106 yards. Vanderbilt was perfect in the red zone, 2 for 2, 14 yards. Kentucky just 1 of 2 for 7. And that, I mean, hell, when the score's 20-13, you have to execute in the red zone. Those are the plays that'll kill you. And Vanderbilt just does what Vanderbilt does, man. They chew up clock. They're methodical. Yep. It's got to be so frustrating to face them when they're moving the ball and eating up all this clock, and then they score. And Kentucky didn't look ready to play to me.
No. Well, Kentucky they lost this football game, Mike, and I'm not taking anything away from Vanderbilt or Pavia, but, another football team that got into those red zone areas and didn't capitalize when they should have, that made way too many mistakes. I think they had over 100 yards of penalties here, and hats off to Vanderbilt. Second half, they opened up 2 drives over 16 minutes chewed up. Third downs, Kentucky just couldn't get off the football field. So, I think that's what it was. It's just, again, this game came down to a couple of moments, and Vanderbilt they're built for that right now. And you see that. These guys are not afraid of third and longs. They're not afraid of coming off they know that they're going to trust the process. You hear them after, this is what Coach Lee tells us to do. They're trusting the process, and it's working.
Hey, comment of the night so far, Shane. Cousin Richard. November 16th. High T Kirby versus low T Hype.
Oh, gosh. That'll be a good one.
But I saw another good one. Cousin Bo here. Do you agree with him, Shane? He says Vanderbilt's the best damn team from the state of Tennessee.
Right now, if these two teams played, I would favor it. I'd favor Vandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's crazy to say.
It's crazy, but
just 2 weeks ago, just uttering that.
You
know what?
It drives me nuts. So the AP poll comes out, and I look, Vandy's not on there, and I'm like, what does this team got to do? They knock off number 1. They go up to Kentucky. It's not at home. They go to Lexington. They beat them. They put Mizzou up against the ropes, which they're now calling a signature win. Virginia Tech. Yes, I think everybody's going to hate that damn Cougar or whatever it is. You never should have Georgia State on your schedule. But Mike, this is a football team right now that I think we'll see one. Let's see. So we got Ball State. Is that Ball State there?
Yes, sir. Next week, Ball State.
Ball State, Texas, just for the listeners. Ball State, Texas, Auburn, South Carolina, LSU, Tennessee. Vanderbilt can win 1, 2, 3, 4 of those football games.
8-4?
They can
if
win.
If Vanderbilt beats Texas, Shane, should they be number 1 in the country?
I mean, how many number ones they got to knock out,
I mean, what else have they got to prove? You know what?
They believe it, man. And that's what I love is these guys are so confident right now. I mean, and this is – people make fun of them. People make jokes about them, but they truly believe if they just win out, they're going to be a college football playoff contender. And that, I mean, if you believe it, you can achieve it. So I'm right there with Pavia. It's not an easy road, but until they prove wrong, that's where we say one-hit wonder. Bama was a one-hit wonder, but it's like, is it Mizzou now? This one now, right. Kentucky? No, I'm all in.
I don't even think it's debatable. You tell me if I'm wrong, Shane. We're at the halfway point of the season, regular season. I think the most impressive thing has been the culture turnaround at Vanderbilt. Is there anything that impresses you more than that?
Maybe just coaching. I
mean, across the whole SEC though. I mean, they were the damn laughing stock, not only of the SEC of the country, kind of.
Yeah. Now
they're out here, like you said, they expected to win against Alabama. They expected to win against Kentucky, and they backed it up.
I'm glad that Pavia is getting the airtime, but it's also a small window, Mike, where they can capitalize. You don't want Vanderbilt to be a one-year wonder, one-hit wonder. We want them to be good. I mean, because they're embarrassing if they're not. I mean, they're a team in our conference that's just garbage most of the time. But they have an opportunity here, brother. If they capitalize and they get this city behind them, who knows? Vanderbilt, I'm not saying they're going to win national championships anytime soon, but they can be competitive. We've seen it in the past.
Mm-hmm. And where does Kentucky go from here, Shane, with another brutal one? That was at home. What now? You got to go on the road. You have owned Florida. That feels like a must win, really, for both of them. Really, so
buddy, yeah.
There's a lot on the line, but I think if Kentucky loses to Florida, which they have beaten 3 years in a row now, if they drop that one, man, I think it's going to go sideways pretty quickly.
Well, I saw Nick Rash. I think he tweeted that Kentucky's 2-12 or something like that. They've got 2-12 last home games, SEC home games. So it's good that this is on the road. And when I'm looking at the Florida Gators, Mike, You talk about a seesaw. That's what it feels like. That Coach Stoops and this fan base, they're on a seesaw. They'll do something really good, and then they'll get their ass kicked by South Carolina.
Right.
Then they'll knock off Ole Miss, and then they'll lose to Vanderbilt. So maybe this is that seesaw where they go down there and punch. I mean, we did it last year. Let's see if they can punch Billy in the face this time.
And we got a lot of Mizzou fans, Shane. They're begging you to lock up them Auburn Tigers. So that's the last one we got to hit on here real quick, Shane. Mizzou takes care of business, beats the hell out of UMass 45-3. I think it's the first time we've done this this set of graphics, Shane, and one team had all the green. Maybe Arkansas versus Arkansas peanut butter. But Luther Burden scored on a 61-yard touchdown on the second play of the game. And that's when you knew this ain't going to be much of a contest. Brady Cook, 14 of 19, 219 yards, 2 touchdowns. Mizzou, this was a ground attack here, 241 rush yards. UMass, 116. Linebacker Corey Flagg had an 80-yard interception that really kept UMass under the thumb.
Yep.
Unfortunately, Luther Burden did get injured, did not return to the game. Do not know how serious that is, so we'll have to monitor that situation. But aside from that, any takeaways from this one?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of hard to take away anything from this football game, but I did, the silver lining. I hope Luther's not hurt long term, and I don't think he is, but it kind of forced Brady to try something else, and that's one of the things we talk about, like Norfleet and these guys, they kind of emerged and it's like, you realize this team is riddled with talent. It's not just one or two pieces. Star running backs out. They said it was back spasm. So,
right.
I
think he would have played if it wasn't this team, No offense to UMass.
He looked
you know what I
pretty
mean?
Excited over there, His back was hurt, I'm going to try to use that this week. Call in work maybe Tuesday, back spasm, see how that goes, But all in all, brother, I feel like this was a get right game. This was a business trip. Go up there. I think it was important. The big picture of this almost felt like a road trip just for the team to kind of get their heads right, get Texas A&M out of their heads, get some confidence. I felt at the end of this game, Brady Cook was extremely confident. He was throwing some damn dimes out there. And this is the quarterback that we saw at the tail end of last season. So keep building off that, man. Keep stacking some positive vibes. And who knows, Mizzou can get back in the mix here.
Mm-hmm. Well, they better, Shane, because we got an epic week coming up here, week 8.
Yeah.
Let's get to the opening lines. There's some great ones here, Shane. And we only got one non-conference game. And I'll give you a hint here. Almost every single point spread is a touchdown or less. So rarely do I give you hints here. But let's do the non-conference game first. Ball State at Vanderbilt. What do you think the spread is there?
Vandy 17.
27.
Damn.
Vegas starting to cover out on Vandy.
They're starting to figure it out. AP poll doesn't have it, but Vegas knows what's up.
All right, now how about Texas A&M at Mississippi State?
Oh, wait, they're all a touchdown,
except for one.
Okay. All right, A&M, we'll say 22.
15, man. Why you hate State?
I don't hate State.
Okay. How about Auburn at Missouri?
Mizzou 6.
Nailed it, Shane.
Oh, nice.
You cheating bastard.
Well, you told me I'm guessing between 7 numbers here.
South Carolina at Oklahoma.
South Carolina at Oklahoma. Let's go Oklahoma 3.5.
4. You about nailed that one. All right, how about Kentucky at Florida?
Give me Florida 3.
2.
Damn.
LSU at Arkansas.
Oh, that's a good game. LSU 7.
1.
Damn.
How about Alabama at Tennessee?
Bama 3.
2.
That'll move.
And then Georgia at Texas.
Georgia at Texas. Texas 4.
3. So I'm telling you,
What
buddy.
a weekend. What a freaking weekend.
We're going to call this Separation
I
Saturday.
knew it was coming. I knew it was coming.
So here's the updated SEC standings, Shane, as we have. And again, this is just conference play. So A&M still number one, even coming off a bye, but 3-0 in conference play. LSU and Texas tied at number 2. They're both 2-0 in conference. Georgia's fourth with a 3-1 conference record. So Georgia's got a real shot to jump up here. I think it's safe to say if Georgia loses at Texas, they may not make they may be eliminated, not from the playoff, but they may be eliminated. Not eliminated, but you know what I mean. The getting to the SEC championship would be very, very unlikely. So that's a situation to monitor. Then we got all these teams are tied at 2-1 in conference play and number 5 overall. Arkansas, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, and Alabama. How about those four, Shane? Who in the world in the preseason would have seen that coming? Mizzou's at number 9. They're 1-1 in the conference. And then Oklahoma, Florida, and Ole Miss, they're tied at 10th with a 1-2 conference record. South Carolina and Kentucky, they're 13th. They're each 1-3 in conference play. And then Mississippi State and Auburn tied for 15th. They're each 0-3 in SEC play. But I think it's fair to say, Shane, that, hell, I was just going to say the top 9, but I would even throw Ole Miss in there. I mean, I still think there's 9 or 10 teams here that are right in the thick of this thing.
Well, yeah, I think you're right, man. And that's the beauty of this year so far. It's not just 1 or 2 teams beating everybody up. It's everybody is competing. You can't rule out any Saturday. I mean, look at this weekend. How many games are within a touchdown spread? So, yeah, this is not going to be decided until mid-November, and that's crazy to me because a lot of times these were kind of sealed up by this time, you know? We kind of had a pulse on who was going to make the championship. We had a pulse on who's probably going to be making the playoffs. Right now, it is wide the freak open.
And next weekend, Shane, it's going to be great because, again, I'm not predicting this or anything like that.
Yeah.
But let's say Texas beats Georgia.
Yeah.
And A&M beats Mississippi State, then these Texas fans can finally turn around to A&M and be like, you ain't played nobody. We just beat Georgia and Oklahoma. You know what?
That's right, man. You know my favorite part is teams like South Carolina, teams like Auburn. Yeah, they're not gonna make the playoffs, but they're gonna prevent some teams from making the playoffs, you know. So even though they're not in, the rest of these teams are gonna play spoiler.
Hey, last thing, Shane, we got some donations here. Shout out Cousin Sven. He gave us 2, I think this is euros. It's a squiggly E here.
Fancy.
Yeah, I don't have any euros, so now I got 2. Congrats, Ole Miss, for missing the playoffs in week 6. Well, shout out, State fans, stay hating. I love it. Jason Hablinski gave us $10. He said LSU rushing the field was embarrassing.
Let me, on that note, I thought about that. 5 years ago, you would have laughed if you would have said LSU is going to storm the field after a one-loss Ole Miss team. You know, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, well.
But I understand it. I watched the football game. I get it. But teams like we just saw Mississippi State, this should give you, they should give you some positive vibes, man. You know, 5 years ago, Ole Miss was not in the mix of these type of football games, but they are. Right. Mississippi State can get right in there as well. So it ebbs and flows. When you're at the lows, you kind of forget about it. You forget.
Yeah, have your fun, I say. I don't care. Serene and Keen, appreciate you, brother. LSU fans have always had a healthy respect for the Razorbacks. Hopefully that the Tigers go in there and ready to bring it. Proud of the fight. Let's keep it up.
Thanks, Gus.
They may be the team of destiny. You know what?
Buddy, they might write a book. I hope I'm in it. I'd like to be part of one of these highlight reels once, you know?
Cousin Jesse, appreciate you. He says, as a Georgia fan, I hate to admit it, but I think the 3 or 4 teams in the 12-team playoffs are Texas A&M, LSU, Tennessee. I don't see Tennessee in there, do you?
Well, of course I do, Mike. You know, I think old Hop will let them hang a little bit last week, and I'm feeling pretty confident that maybe they take a step forward. I don't know.
I would you'd have Tennessee over Georgia.
No, well, no, not this week. No. I don't know, Mike. Jeez, let us have a win.
It's like,
for
it's like
Christ's
your
sake.
mind's in a pretzel
Yeah.
right now. You know,
It really is. At least I'm not walking.
Cousin Joshua, appreciate you. Surprised no one is talking about this, but Corey Batoon and Kane Womack, they were both South Alabama staff last year, both took DC jobs in the SEC, and both Bama and Mizzou defense having issues against conference play. Not sure they will last. Well, yeah, I mean that was a talking point when they got hired.
Yeah.
Who the hell? Why are we hiring these guys from South Alabama? But yeah, interesting point. I mean, I think I don't know about Corey Batoon, but I could see Kane Womack being one and done because there's going to have to be a fall guy there. You know what?
Yeah, everybody needs a scapegoat, and if you can't spell his name, you might as well get rid of him.
How about Adam Dowling? Appreciate you. Said Napier not going for two was soft as hell,
buddy.
I agree with that.
Jeez, they had it. You were right. It didn't matter what it was. I just knew. I mean, every Tennessee fan had that, that moment where that little, battered Vol syndrome kind of snuck in. You're like, here we go.
Right.
Seen this movie before.
Moonbull, appreciate you. What a name. Do you blame Kalen DeBoer or NIL for Bama being an ass? What's more to blame? I would probably say
a little both.
Yeah, I think that's the right answer.
Yeah, I think there's a little mix there. I feel like there's some kids that think they're owed something, and I feel like DeBoer's trying to do something and create culture and say what you want. You kind of see this when new coaches come in to old regimes. Sometimes you're going to have a fallout. Don't be surprised at the end of this season, Bama doesn't lead the country in transfers, because there's going to be some that bought in and there's going to be some that don't. And if you're not fitting in, then get the hell out of here.
Yeah. How about Cousin Torrin real quick? $5. Hey, we played like crap. The O-line sucks, 150 yards of penalties, but at least we lost to the top team in the country, Vanderbilt Commodores.
Silver lining.
And then Harrison, appreciate you, brother. He says, are we supposed to accept Alabama in the top 10?
No.
I wouldn't.
No, my favorite tweet last night was, when do we stop calling these upset alerts, Because right now, Bama is just not that good.
They're just living off reputation, you know what?
That's it. That's all it is.
Yep. All right, brother. Well, you got anything else before we hop off the line?
No. Again, thanks for everybody sending their thoughts and prayers. I mean, throughout the game, I got a lot of people saying, man, I really, let me help you. I'll do some of the miles for you, So I appreciate everybody that reached out. But, hey, man, it's Separation Saturday coming up. It's not Elimination Saturday. So, the season's still going. There's still a lot of great football ahead of us. Your team may not be where you want it right now, but by gosh, there's still a lot of good football games that they can have. So I'm looking forward to it.
Florida was just trying to help you get into shape, Shane. You can't hate him for that. You know what?
No, I can't. Is that the silver lining? Is that Billy was trying to save my life or vice versa? I think that's what it was. I think somebody asked me that and said, Billy, that was what he said when he was going to do that 2-point conversion. They were laughing. They're like, Shane was probably freaking out, thought we were going to win this football game.
Yeah. Well, for your sake, I'm glad it went the other way so we don't have to worry about your health. But we do appreciate you, brother. We appreciate each and every one of you for hanging out. We'll catch you on the next one.
All right. See you guys. Go Vols. Kick a field goal.
What an idiot.